All right, everybody, welcome back. I'm so excited for this deep dive because we're going to be talking about Call of Duty,
Ooh, yeah.
but specifically people's first experiences.
Right.
We found this super cool Z League article. It's all about how these Redditors got started with the Call of Duty franchise. I don't know about you, but I think first experiences with a game can be really powerful.
Oh, absolutely.
And they really stick with you.
Oh, for sure. They're super formative.
Yeah, so we're going to kind of go through this article and talk about some of the different stories that we saw.
Yeah.
And, see what we find interesting.
For sure. I mean, the cool thing is there's a ton of different Call of Duty games represented in this article.
Totally.
I mean, you've got everything from Modern Warfare to Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops, World at War.
Yeah, and it's so interesting, reading through it, how much nostalgia is wrapped up in it for these people.
Yeah, it's not just oh, I remember that game. It's oh, I remember that game. And I was like, oh, I remember that game. And I was like,
and I was 12.
Yeah, exactly. I was a kid, and it's so tied up in
childhood.
Yeah, childhood. And for a lot of people, this was their first online multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
And so that in and of itself is just a whole other can of worms that we can, unpack, because it's oh, wow, I was experiencing this massive online world for the first time.
Right.
And competing and maybe finding a community.
Yeah, totally. Well, I think that's a great place to actually jump into some of these specific stories.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so one that really stood out to me was Auto Manifest, who was talking about playing MW2.
Yeah.
And basically I was absolutely terrible at that game.
Right.
I was not good.
And I loved it.
But I loved it so much.
Yeah.
And it got me thinking, what is it about some games, even when you're not super skilled at them,
right,
that just make them so enjoyable?
Yeah. I think for games like Call of Duty, the thing is, even if you're not winning, even if you're not at the top of the leaderboard, there's just this visceral thrill to the action, right? Things happen so fast.
It's so fast-paced.
It's so fast-paced. Your reflexes are being tested. It's just pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you've got the social layer, right? Call of Duty has always been a game about playing with your friends.
Right.
Talking trash, celebrating those crazy kill streaks.
Yeah.
So much of the fun comes from that stuff that's totally independent of your skill level.
Totally.
Okay.
I mean, it's just about being there.
Yeah.
And having that shared experience. Right.
Totally.
Okay, so another one that stood out to me was Devish Jack, who was talking about playing MW3.
Okay.
But on the Wii.
Uh-huh.
And they said that they think that they were so good at it because they had played Lego Batman.
Interesting.
I mean, on the surface, those two games seem like completely different genres.
Yeah, you wouldn't think there would be a connection. But, if you think about it a little bit, it actually makes sense.
Totally.
Because both of them, even though they're different, at their core, you need a certain amount of, special awareness.
Yeah.
You need quick thinking. You need to master the control scheme.
Totally.
And I feel those skills, even if you're getting them from, a lighthearted game like Lego Batman, actually do lay the groundwork for success.
Absolutely.
In a more fast-paced, competitive game like Call of Duty.
Right, and it makes you think about how many other skills we've all picked up
from random games.
Yeah, random games that we played.
Absolutely.
As a kid that we don't even think about anymore.
Right, muscle memory and stuff.
Oh, okay. Are you ready for Call of Duty Die Hard?
Okay, hit me.
Okay, so No Actuator 6245 has owned every single PC version of Call of Duty.
Wow.
Since the original game.
That's commitment right there.
That is commitment right there.
I mean, that's a relationship, You think about how much the franchise has evolved over the years.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The graphics, the settings, the game modes.
Yeah.
This person has seen it all firsthand.
That's crazy.
It's like having a front row seat to gaming history.
Yeah, that's so true. And it makes you realize, what keeps a franchise going.
Right.
For that long, right? It's they have to keep reinventing themselves.
Totally. It's about staying relevant, but also giving the fans what they want.
Exactly.
But also surprising them.
Yeah.
With new stuff.
Totally. Okay, so speaking of reinvention.
Okay.
Future Scroll 360. Their story was really cool because they started with MW3.
Okay.
Loved it. Thought it was great. And then discovered zombies in World at War.
Oh, wow.
And they're yeah, that's my thing now.
Yeah.
I don't even care about the other stuff.
I'm a zombie convert.
Totally.
Yeah.
And it made me think, sometimes just one element of the game can like completely change.
It can redefine your whole relationship with the franchise.
Your whole relationship with the franchise.
Like for zombies, I think what was so cool about it is it introduced this whole other kind of enjoyment.
Yeah.
It was like co-op gameplay. You had this horror element.
Yeah.
You had to strategize on the fly.
Totally.
It wasn't just about like running and gunning.
Yeah, it was totally different vibe.
It was a different vibe, and I think it proves that even within these well-established franchises, like there's always room for surprises.
Yeah, there's always room to kind of like find your niche
Totally.
in it too, right?
Absolutely.
So I guess thinking about all these stories and thinking about you listening right now, like what is it that makes a game really stick with you?
Right.
Is it the game itself?
Yeah.
Is it the people you played it with? Is it, like the time in your life when you played it?
Yeah, I mean, what elevates it from just a game to like a core memory?
Yeah.
What makes it so special that you're still thinking about it years later?
Totally. And we'd love to hear from you. What your answers to those questions are.
What are your core gaming memories?
Yeah.
Because I think all of this speaks to something bigger, right? It's not just about Call of Duty.
Yeah.
It's about shared experiences. It's about how a game franchise can become like a cultural touchstone.
Yeah.
It's like a common language for gamers across generations and backgrounds.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the takeaway that I got from reading this article too.
Sure.
It was just like, wow, this is so much bigger than just one game.
It is.
So yeah, let us know what you think, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good.
All right, bye.
See ya.